Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we're going to be taking a look at round 5, match number 3 between Septeni Raptures and avex Royalbrats. Now both of them are coming off of victories from last round, so it'll be interesting who's going to kind of take the leg up between the two. Avex typically brings very abstract concepts which either really work in their favor or really don't, depending on who they're against, and with Septeni, they always do a pretty good job on trying to get the audience vote. I do know it has some affiliation to do with, they do have a couple of people that are part of the Jet Boy Bangers. Understand that, just like Sega Sammy and Cyber Agent do as well. So I know that with audience, it may kind of be a little bit more of a wishy-washy, not quite sure. We'll see with this one, but I am looking forward to seeing what concepts both bring this time. Let's go ahead and take a watch. Cool. Love that. Great syncopation on the percussion. Woo! Love that. Oh, there's a lot of head-to-head contact here. I'm assuming it's part of their concept. I love that. I love the isolation they chose to do with that. That's cool. Woo! Wow. Wow. Interesting. Cool. All right, from the top. Now, I do know this. I say this probably almost every match now at this point. I do know judges get way more context behind the concepts of these routines because there's promos that are played. They know who are actually competing in the routine. They know all of that. I don't. So please keep that in mind if some of my feedback is a little bit different than what the judges would be giving for this. I don't have nearly as much context. But from here, from the tippy top, I really love the usage of just how they have that very organic percussion. Really nice to see how they started. Really full in the energy. They also do a really good job catching the music in very abstract or difficult ways because it's really hard to hear it. They got to start immediately and make sure that they all hear and to the microsecond know how to begin at the same time. Very smart on their end. I love that. Boom, boom, da da boom. Everyone kind of having their own individuality, and then that boom, boom, boom. They go in, have your feature at the top of the level. Love that energy, bringing it through. I love that turn to drop. Then we have our two on this side. Now, this is a camera switch for us. How clean of this transition was for the lighting, not sure. Don't know what's happening outside of this feature group. That's my one qualm I have with the camera shots of this. Love that choice of kind of doing a little fan over on the table. I like the usage of the table and that we just don't just have it for like 1 second and then move away from it. I really like having it. Then I really enjoy having that choice. It's so full. Then right here, I love that. Dun, 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 dun. Right there. I use that move a lot. And how they dip down and look at the isolation. But there's still a jack present, but they're doing a good job having that head be like a fixed point while just making it so captivating, going from something so high, ding, 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 to something really low. But the groove is still present. I loving that through. Love that. Now notice that not everybody's on the same page in terms of what their arms are doing. Yeah, that would just be my like one little note there. I know some of them were hitting it up. Some had a little bit too high. Spacing's a little bit off too, if you notice right over here. But in general, I think it's pretty cool. Bringing it through, diving it down, bringing it up. Now, not everybody's committing to both sides, so I would say the range needs to be adjusted to where everybody's committing to the same sides and the syncopation required to do it. Great level usage for this. They come up, boom, da. Then they look and they make contact with looking at other people, having your mini feature, and then dropping it down to the next person. Having that switch, really like that switch, having the top level be represented as well. I wish that these two would be a little bit lower so we can have a very clear spacing between these two levels. The spacing I think is a little bit too broad here, so they need to be a little bit lower. Now, they're on a table. You can only ask so much, right? So I do wish that they were about like right here in terms of height. And so it would really feel very cohesive in the level representation and not, it's subtly disconnected between the guys on the table and them there. But then that right there was really nice to connect them. Branching it through. Love the dynamic. Da 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 da. They're carrying a lot of like a jack within it, like you would do in house. I think that's kind of fun to have that here. Syncopation. Really love that choice with the reverb, bringing it through. The connection. I love that choice. The commitment there. Everybody's even waving down through the fingers. God, that was cool. Switch. Boom. Really like that. Great on the percussion. With the cymbals, super nice to see this. I would say the lighting, they're a little bit off on the lighting, and I wish that this was more centered up on it, but I appreciate that we get to see it there. Now, the lighting's not manual. Please keep that in mind. It is on a timer, so they were off on their spacing, or they were off on their staging, and that's why it looked that way. Now they broke it up. Well, we're still there. Now we have everybody kind of connected in some way except for one of our guys. But then they're kind of down there creating, it's really nice, it's very abstract, and I like the usage of the table and how she took his leg and moved it over. That was cool. Up on the table, that room, that was really cool. Very, very individualized, yet the dynamic is still presented. So each group gets a mini feature where they're hitting a lot of different like syncopation with what's going on in the percussion, that boom, or that, you know. So that, I think this was really fun on the musicality side. Very like it feels very exploratory. Like you see like some weird, you know, there's like some, modern classes, they may ask you to do some movement exercises like this that feel very out of pocket or out of place. It kind of gives off that energy here, but done in a very tasteful way and very structured, but it's still individualistic. And I love that. Nice feature, great on the lighting for that choice. They dip it down, I love it. We're still connected. Once again, we have that fixed point groove initiated, and it's a nice fingerprint throughout the whole track. Super dope. Bringing it through. Yep, love the build of the energy. Sliding it through. We're getting ready. I love that. Patting on that table. Here we go. A little bit of house. Everyone kind of doing their own thing, vibing through, but it does feel like we're mirrored in that sense. I really love that with a little bit of whacking in play. Everyone's there head banging. Love it. One does more of a fan kick over. One drops to the side. Backwards roll. Now we're back with our partners. We get to have like a gimme five. A little bit of locking in play for that. Really nice. Everybody gets to have their own thing. So I guess my one note is that for the one unison section, I think we only like one unison section in this. It wasn't quite as clean as I think it needed to be, but I really do like the choices that they made, and a lot of the feature moments that they have are collective feature moments, and it feels like everybody gets to be distributed in the feature. It's not just one individual person the whole time, and I actually really like that. Having the two tables, here's our unison section again. Definitely on the cleaner side and a lot harder on the stability risks taken on this too. Hitting it through, the commitment with the head really carries a lot of weight here. Boom, boom, boom. Really dropping it down. And when it comes to going up against a group like Royalbrats, they are very much known for being clean. If you've seen Accelerate and if you've seen Concentration, or was it a Complication, I think is what it was called. It was a Kenichi inspired set. Those are the true epitome of polyrhythms, but freaking clean. So this one, it's nice that we have that sense of like wild interpretation, which I like, because in range for the most part, they're doing a pretty good job of getting everybody on the same page. That last little arm section though wasn't quite as clean as it needed to be. Yeah, bring it through, but the lower half was definitely better. But once again, Is this enough? I don't know. And how they're also doing the wraparound with the formation. It feels like it's really close to the table on this side and really far away on the other side. So not quite as symmetrical then, so that's not really as helpful. Love how they finished this, really great. Starting kind of how we, oh my gosh, we're finishing how we started. That's what I mean. That whole syncopation section with the usage of the reverbs and the vibrations as they drop it down. I really love that choice. And then they finish, ding. Yeah, and they have to be very stable in how they finish it out. So in all, this was a really, really cool set. I'm curious, so curious what avex is going to bring. It's either people are going to love it or going to be like, it just wasn't enough. And I think that was the downside of one of their sets that they did, which was cool. Like with Accelerate, it was cool, but I think it was too simple in a lot of the factors that are contributing to the criteria. But here, this was really cool. I think their unison definitely needed to be a little bit cleaner. But I really like the individual exploration choices, and they had more people involved for most of their set, which can really help them in these cases. So let's go ahead and see what avex Royalbrats has to offer. There you go. Nice. Spacing a little off in that section, but it was still really nice. So he's like, I don't want to be in the limelight, and they're like, you gotta! Oh, okay. This was very interesting in concept for sure too. Their hair, it must have been a nightmare getting their hair to not be how it is. It's just so, it's so quirky. Oh, that was cool. That was cool. Yeah. Now that move right there was something very similar to what happened. It was with, Jose 8 Rocks did that for their set against this group. Interesting. That was cool. Okay, one of them set up a little too late there. Love that. Funny. Do my thing. I don't quite know the concept entirely, but I get it enough. Now, let's go ahead and talk through it. Both of them, I don't know the concept as well. So that could be something that really sets the judges in separation of this. When it comes to audience vote, Septeni may take it, probably because of outside things like I had mentioned. Both had very interesting things in mind. This one definitely was more playful. It did give me that kind of gimmickiness that we saw from Cyber Agent with Surface Men. This was still really fun though. How they all circle around, bless their hair. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They got 7 then with a feature. Also, the judges, some of them don't quite, they haven't been really doing like scoring very high for like a 1-point feature in a set. Like they gotta really be integrated well and efficiently in order to be awarded points for some of these judges. Madoka specifically, which is fine. I like how he brought it down, brought it down. He's like, the commitment is really nice, hitting it through, boom, boom. It does give me like Japanese commercial. Do you know what I'm talking about? So I could totally see this just getting recorded and then they just promote whatever kind of advertisement they want. It gives that thing a type of inspiration. So this would be really great to add to Royalbrats' portfolio if they wanted to like sell energy drinks or something, or sell like a cell phone. Like they, you know, Japan does a really pretty good job on their commercials and their marketing. So that just really gives me that energy a lot. Maybe that's what they were going for. It does feel like these are all reporters and they're kind of like writing whatever they want about him, possibly. Really love the locking, very clean, as to be expected from them. Love dropping it down, hand raise, really great to feature. Having the 4, pretty clean, range is slightly off on some of this though. Yep, sweet, very, very much on the difficulty and syncopation for sure. Man, you're dealing with some very interesting comparisons between these two. I actually, at this point in time, I don't know who could take this. I have to finish analyzing this and then I think I'll have a better idea, but notice with these legs here, some of them have them straight, some have it bent, so that would be something to make sure that we get clear. Love that he's like, wait, stop putting it in my face, and then I love the commitment of them slamming it in his face. Great on that. Then right here, right into locking. I do wish that we had a wider range, and that's something that I think worked in Septeni's favor. It's just having the range of having grooves that were up and having grooves that modified into different levels of representation on an individualistic side and on a unison side. They definitely are cleaner in unison, but is that the defining factor between what separates these groups from who wins and who doesn't? No, there's other criteria for a reason. You know, when it comes to concept, I know that matters in this league. For me, I don't understand. I mean, I understand both to the same degree that I don't really know them 100%, but I get the gist. Do you know what I mean? So, and both did very well within those concepts. I love the energy and the build off for that. That was fun. Yep, so they're really taking a heavy locking approach to this. I think going down, some of their setups and transitions I think could be a little bit more refined, especially with the tablecloth. I do appreciate having the line there so it's easier for him to be there. They switch through, they're looking for him. I get that. Really nice telling a story. They have their feature moment. So they're making it tell a story. They're like, hey! And he's trying to deflect them, and then they're being used as like a little distraction. They're all like, oh, you know? So I think that was really fun. Great lighting usage for that. They both get to have a moment. Love that. Switching through, my guy over here, he had a little stability check that needed a little bit more refinement for that part, but nothing crazy. Sliding it through, I love that. So when it comes to the style, locking for sure. They did a fantastic job with everyone, but with locking, there's so much essence and funk that may work against them because it does carry a more uniform perspective. That does help with synchronicity. It does not help with essence. So as much, depending on what concept you're going with, you know what I mean? This isn't a funk type of concept. This is like reporters reporting, you know? So I love I really do like the concept. It's cool. But I'm not a fan, however, of how they're prepping this. It does feel like we're about to lift the table. You know, it's very predictable, and so that would be something that I would modify. He drops down, they come up, pick it up. I like having that guy was a surprise. They're all like, hey, and he's like, wait. That was really cool with the lighting change and having him drop that down. He's there, he's prepared and ready to go. For me, I wish that he got into this spot a little bit earlier. And now see the transition right there, the roll, the commitment. Very, very, very impressive. Move, and then of course this looks like a mic and he's told to talk through it, so I feel like it's just being forced to speak when you don't want to. Let me look at the spacing here. 1, 2, 3, 2. Okay, so they decided to sacrifice. I mean, there's more people obviously on the side, but they did a good job at least making it appear like we're sharing center, but we know we're not, because this is our center point right here, and this is our guy right there. And I just realized, yay for D.LEAGUE. Can we talk about the fact that they have markers to help with the dancers? I love that. It actually sets people up for success that way. I'm such a fan of that. Dropping it down, I love that. Boom, 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 boom. But of course, if you notice where you had these two in the back, yeah, something was off with this. They all are doing different things, and I think that just how it didn't feel symmetrical in how they finished it. I think that was their intention, though. It felt a bit disconnected, that little bit right there where they had people kind of get and commit to their spot, but because it's not a symmetrical formation, it's hard to tell what they were going for in that moment, because you didn't have true symmetry all the way through to justify that breakaway of the formation. Is that a big enough qualm? No, that could be a preferential thing for me, so we'll just factor that in there. I like the choice of having the glide, but with the hands. That was fun. That right here, boom and boom. One of them was a little bit too late for that part, but that part looks exactly like, who were they against? They were against Jose Rocks. They did the exact thing, but it was called Spirit, right? Because I really liked how they did their alpha kicks for that. That's the only reason why I remember that. So just find it interesting there. I would see that. I love they break it away. Love it. So they're placating more unison for this one, way more than what we saw from Septeni. Now, the judges here Are they going to care more about having unison represented, or are they going to care about the individual, like, I don't know, the group involvement as a whole? This is very structured. Could this work against them against Septeni's set that it was structured but also unhinged? I don't know. Septeni held it down in style. So that's why I'm feeling Septeni could potentially pull out a judge win too. I think they'll get audience. But I mean, I really like the entertainment value of this one. So if I didn't know the back end stuff, I would honestly think that avex would get the audience vote. And they still very well could. Don't know. Once again, I don't know the fan bases very well. But I just know enough about Septeni and who's on it to kind of make that kind of educated guess, I reckon. That right here, I really like the build on this, but notice that one of them, he was I don't know if it was, I think it's a guy, a little bit too late in the startup for that. So watch, should we go through? Oh, no, you know what it was? He wasn't too late. He scooted over when he didn't need to. Like, it was a spacing thing, of course, to modify the spacing, but by him moving over, it made that movement look a little different on him. I love that. And then it built it up again. I really love that. That was cool. Switching it through, he picks it up. And he's like, ha. And they finish, ha. And they're all really happy. That was enjoyable. I mean, based on the audience, it sounds like they loved it. So maybe they'll get, I don't know, guys. With audience for this one, it's kind of a toss-up. If it were up to me, I would have voted for Royalbrats. I think I like the entertainment value of that one more. As an audience member, I felt like I was more invested in that one. With Septeni, though, there's a good chance they could pull out some of the judges' votes for that. I don't know who's going to swing this, just being very real. It could be a tie. It could be avex gets awarded because of their synchronicity, their unison, and their concept. With Septeni, they could also receive it because of their style, their essence, and their individualized feature moments, but they were still structured in nature, very abstract in some of their level representation, and their uses of the syncopation with the musicality. Here, it was comical, but some of the things, they kind of felt like we got to see behind, behind the magic trick, like we saw the magic trick set up, so it didn't feel as magical. Does that make sense? In some of their transitions with the usage of the prop. So, out of the two, if you're also looking at table, Royalbrats, they both use tables. Royalbrats use it in a comical sense. Raptures used the table to help justify levels. So, guys, I don't know. For me, I would say point, based on criteria, like based on the 5 categories, good chance Septeni could probably pull more categories potentially from a judge. But remember, the judges are so wide and vast, I don't know who they're going to pick. So I guess for this one, I won't vote. And I don't know who would take audience. I could see either take it. Watch it be a shutout. That'll be, whatever. Okay, let's look at judges and see what they have to say. I wonder if she was saying easy to understand, probably about the, probably about Royalbrats. Theirs was very clear. Much more clear, even though I really didn't know, like, the nuances of the concept. I understood it. So maybe that could be what pulls the win for them. Shut out. Nope. Madoka. Red. Tie. I'll take a tie. Guys, I am such a fan whenever ties happen, and I legitimately feel it could swing either way. I'm glad this was a tie because both had really good things that were competitive. Now, looking, Katsuya and Rue were split. Normally, I vibe with both of them, so that's interesting. Renko went with Septeni because of probably the abstractness of it. Madoka also went with Septeni. That's interesting. Shinichi doesn't surprise me. An audience doesn't surprise me. I mean, based on the audience, like how, if we're going off of what we heard, the audience sounded more invested in Royalbrats. Honestly, with the audience going for Royalbrats, I was expecting that with the Sega Sammy Cyber Agent battle, you know? But of course, you guys, we already talked about all that. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look. Doesn't surprise me, does it? Oh my gosh! Ooh, okay. He doesn't hide it, does he? Ooh, there was no contest to that. Raptures. You know what? Hold on. Here is what about when you give so many 10s like this. Here's why it bothers me, I think. Well, of course, you've heard me throughout the matches, if you've heard me at this point. I think what bothers me is that when you have people that don't agree with him, right? That just, it proves that, like, him giving so many 10s, these routines are not perfect. They're freaking human. You know what I mean? Like, there's some routines that I would be like, I can justify awarding a 10 for on the structure of how the scoring works for this. But some of these routines do not need a 10. Like a 9 would be great for sure, but like a 10 is like, that's the best you will ever see somebody do that particular skill set. There were still some baby discrepancies in how they were doing it. Some of their essence and their posture was a little off too. So it's just hard for me to like believe him and his scores because there's so many other, it's a tie for a reason, right? So neither of them brought this astronomically incredible set that I'd give both perfect scores. It'd be great. No, neither of them should have gotten a perfect score because what it brought was a little bit like the skills were great, of course, definitely more complex, but not everybody was on the same page the whole time. Therefore, it should not get a 10. A 10 is everybody was on the same page the whole time. But anyway, I think that's what bothered me the most about it, about his scoring, is that when you have some people that are like, I voted for Septeni and here's why, you know.
テーブル使った構成とダンスとのバランスがすごいことだと思います。途中で頭くっつけてね、こう下手から上手に流れていくあれとかもなんかすごいアイディアとしてすごい面白かったと思うし。
The head was cool. I agree. That was cool.
最初のね、スタートの形に戻るっていうのをディスカッションしましたってことなのかな。まあ分かりやすいんですけど、でもこれも最近ちょっとD.リーガーの作品でもよく見られる手法なので。
So on a creativity side, no, I can agree with that. Just syncopation on a percussion is something we've already seen from DYM Messengers. We saw it from, it was Carnival by, was it Valuance Infinities? Yeah, so like, I agree, it's not a... It's an apology? Oh, it's an apology press conference.
怖いなっていうのをなんとなくこうマイクのお化けじゃないけどなんか表してて、それはそれでちょっとダンス離れちゃってちょっと面白かったです。でラッツのいつも通りの分かりやすい上手にテーマを見せるところから。
Honestly, I think it'd be fun to see this set against Cyber Agent Surfaceman. That would be a very interesting comparison out of two. Who would win with that? Out of the two.
思います。コミカルなところから一気にこう。ギアを上げていくというか、ちゃんとダンスのところも見せてますよっていうのをバランスがすごい良かったなと思います。テーブルを滑り台にして社内ルーティーンこれもだからやっぱねブラックは本当上手だなと思って喜怒哀楽をいろんなところで出てくれるというか僕がテーマに持ってたと思いますけど、すごい、ブラックの幅の広さも夏の幅の広さも見れるし、作品力のちょっと上回ってたかな、ブラッツは。ということで、僕はロイヤルブラッツの方に入れました。
Madoka! Yes, once again, I agree with how he's scoring this. I do. You know, neither needed a 10 for this.
かなり難しいジャッジだったんですけど、ロイヤルブラッツはそのまとめ方がめちゃくちゃうまくて、一つのコンセプトを触れずにしっかりと、
That's true. They did a good job in making it clear.
それがストーリーになっているというのがかなり上手でしたね。でしかも謝罪っていうその言ったらネガティブな発想を最終的にはかっこよすぎてごめんねっていうオチに持ってくる。オチのつけ方もすごく上手で、笑いの取り方もかなりうまかったですね。自分たちがここだっていう出しどころがすごく上手だったんですけど、ただ一個弱点があって、ロックもっと勉強した方がいいかなと思いました。ロックダンスがベースになってるんですけど、ベースであるロックダンスがかなりレベルがそのみんなに比べて低いダンス力で見せていたので、間違いなく。
What did I say? I said that. I said there's not, I didn't say it to this degree. I wasn't like they need to study locking more. I said the essence of how they're doing their locking is not at where it needs to be for how much of it that they're doing. Like it's not matching the energy of the music.
シンプルがゆえに誰でもできるダンスみたいに思われやすいんですけど、かなり難しいんですよ。それで見せるっていうのが。そこがあれば、それこそ本当トップクラスの作品なのに。もったいないですね。本当にもったいないです。ラーメン屋はラーメンを勉強する。
Ramen restaurants should study ramen.
チャーハンとかすっごく美味しいんですよ。 もうずば抜けて美味しいんですよ。地域ナンバーワン、いや日本ナンバーワンになるんじゃないかぐらいのチャーハンを持ってるのに、ラーメンを勉強しようっていうのがすごく伝わりました。
He must have just gotten done with he must have just gotten done with Street Dance China whenever he did this. What do you think about timeline?
ただラプチャーズも各々の強みで見せてるんじゃなくて、各々の弱みを補った作品になっちゃったんですよ。だからそれぞれがすごく強いダンス力を持っていて、音楽のアプローチがめちゃくちゃうまかったんですけど、例えばステージに一人で立ってそうやるよりも多分もっと爆発できるスキルを持ってるんだけど、作品としてまとめようとしてしまって、ちょっと濃度が薄れてしまったという感じです。でもっと勝負に出てよかったなと思っていて、自分のたちのダンス力に対してもっと貫いて揃えるためにこの角度を落としてしまうと低い位置でクロスしてしまうんですよ、ダンスって。だから高い位置でクロスさせようと思うと、それは時間もかかるし苦労もするし、多分それぞれが悩みも持つんですよね。だけどそれを経て高い位置でクロスした時って、いわゆるスピードを落とさずに階級を上げるボクサーぐらい強くなれるので、自分の中でそれを絶対に大事にしてほしいですね。自分たち各々がもっとわがままにシンクロしてほしいなと思いました。だけど、まあ全体的に見てダンス力は
I wanted them to be cleaner too.
圧倒的に高かったので、ラプチャーズにさせてもらいました。
There you go.
セプテニラプ
Woo! Wow.
ダンスディスカッション。
What should she give 10s to? It was to perfection and choreography.
というテーマで、まず最初から、最後まで心の鼓動
He keeps saying dance discussion, so I guess that makes sense, like the connection with the heads and stuff. Okay. I literally do like the physical heads touching together. Like, that's cool.
とてもドキドキさせてもらいました。いろんなスタイルがその中で彼らの得意な動きっていうのも入れてたんですけれども、
Nice.
それがなんか変に分かれて
God, that part is still really cool. I like that one a lot.
進まれていくっていうのは、もう彼ら自身が自分のダンスをもうそのものに自分のものにしているなっていうのは作品を通してすごく感じました。ディスカッションっていう意味で、結構こう2人でのコンタクトが多かったんですけれども、私の印象としてはこうおでことおでこをひっつけて2人が踊った流れで、センターで宇宙空間のようにおでこをひっつけたまま回り続けるんですね。で、私はあそこの瞬間がすごく心と心の信頼感というものを感じた。
This was very interesting. Like, just
こういったところをダンスっていう中ではっきりと動く細かい動きで見せるじゃなくて、空間で、全員が見せきってくれたそのチャレンジ性っていうのがとても私の中では高評価でした。机を彼ら使っているんですけれども、8人なのに2つある机があることによって10人のように見える机を大切にしている一体感というものがすごく心震わせられて、隙のない机の動かし方、そこに彼らのダンスがミックスされて、いい意味で机のディスカッションも見えたなと思いました。対するavex ロイヤルブラッツさん、謝罪というテーマで本当に、面白く最初から最後まで、彼らも机を同じく使われていたので、机の使い方ってこんなに違う風に見せられるんだと思わされたんですけれども、パフォーマンスしてる最中によし動かすぞっていう瞬間が見えてしまうというのは、小道具を使うにあたって演技の中で遊びで入るのはいいと思うんですけれども、これは演技というよりかはよし次行くぞっていうところで、ちょっと私の中で小道具の使い方としてはと冷めてしまった瞬間だなと思います。で、ダンスもロックをベースに彼らがパフォーマンスを自分たちのスタイルとミックスさせてやっててとても魅力的だったんですが、その畳みかけのラストのフロア、ロックをしたところからフロアで、足を開いて降りて上がってくるとかっていうところの大切さをまで、もっとダンスに、深みを持って 体現されるとスキルの部分が私の中ではもっと点数がついたなと思います。ユニゾンの部分で途中こうってアップするリズムの瞬間があったので、ここは私もとっても好きでした。音楽と彼らのダンスの動きっていうのがしっかりとマッチして魅力的でした。はい、なのでスキルの部分、完成度の部分っていうのは、先ほどお伝えした部分で少し下がってしまいましたので、もう少し細かいところを徹底して作り上げるとより良い評価になります。はい、ということでセプテーニ・ラプチャーズさんに入れさせていただきました。
僕はセプテーニ
Okay.
ラプチャーズさんの勝利とさせていただきました。avex Royalbrats さんからちょっと話させていただきたいんですけど、今回その謝罪っていうキーテーマでショーが進んでいったと思うんですけど、ストーリーの進め方がうまいなっていうふうに思いました。今どういうシーンなのかっていうのが、僕たちにも見てるお客様たちにもすごい伝わったと思うので、ダンスと結びつけながら進めていくそのスキルといいますかがとてもすごいなと思いました。机の使い方も素晴らしかったです。その小道具をどう表現するかっていうのだけで見たら、僕は avex さんの方に、点数は高かったかなと思いますね。そこがそのクリエーションっていう面で、僕は反映させているんですけど、滑り台の使ったりとか、上げたところもそうでしたし、でその下の人がちゃんと足になってなんかすごい身長高い人みたいになってるみたいな、そういうアイデアが素晴らしいと思いました。ですし、あとはその謝罪っていうテーマでショーが進んでいって、そのオチでかっこよすぎてごめんなさいっていうそのオチのつけ方もその謝罪っていうところにかかってて、本当すごいなっていうふうに思いました。対するセプテーニ・ラプチャーズさんなんですけど、今回、ダンスディスカッションということで机を挟んでこうダンスで、ディスカッションといいますか会話をしているような、見せ方がすごい伝わってきて、ここもすごい面白かったです。さまざまなジャンルを1個のショーの中に入れてきてますけど、ロックとあとハウス、あとヒップホップ、その3つのジャンルが、取り入れられながらショーが進んでいった印象なんですけど、個々のそのもちろんダンスのレベルも高いですし、今回そのシンプルドラムだけっていう曲の構成でしたけど、それでもちゃんといろんな表現を
Yeah, that's actually really difficult to do when you only have one instrument to interpret. Regardless of the syncopation, creating different ways to express it is so tricky. So I agree with that. That's true.
ちょっとずっとではないんですけど、ちょっとごちゃっとして見えた部分もあって、そこがちょっともったいなかったかなっていう印象ではありました。で今回そのまずスキルっていう面で、avex さんが、一番そのロックダンスっていうものを使ってそのストーリーを進めていってたと思うんですけど、正直言うともうそれやるんだったらもっとそのダンスのレベルがやっぱ高いものを見たかったっていうのは正直あります。そのやっぱロックって多分その形がやっぱ揃いやすい。
Talking about the locking was a little too simplistic for what they were going for and how much of it they were using. I can agree with that.
っていうので差も感じましたし、そこでスキルっていう面ではセプテーニさんに入れつつ、
I can agree with
同
that.
時にコレオグラフっていう面でも今回はセプテーニさんの方に票を入れさせてもらいました。サードマッチに関しては僕はセプテー
It
ニ
did feel like they were trying to be a little bit like Cyber Agent, but it wasn't hitting the same way. You know what I mean? Rue. Okay, Rue went for Royalbrats. 3-point difference.
に入れさせていただきました。
Once again, no full marks.
セプテニー・ラプチャーズさんからスキルフルな作品でダンス力もしっかり見せていて、テーブルの使い方もとてもよく、本当に群を抜いてチーム力が高いチームだなっていうのを感じました。ですが、すごく本当にこの戦いは迷いに迷ってギリギリまで迷ったんですけど、D リーグという場所でもう一つ勝っていくにはプラスアルファでよりお客さんを引き込ませる作品だったりとか引き込ませる力っていうのが必要になってくるのかなと思って、スキルだったりダンスの面では本当にクオリティの高いものになっていると思うんですけど、そういう楽しませる引き込ませるっていう部分でもう一つ、 上がってくるとより良くなるのかなっていうのが正直な感想でして、かっこいいだったりとかコミカルな作品、テーマ性の作品とかいろんな作品を作る上でいろいろあると思うんですけど、その何かテーマ性にすることがいいとはもちろん限らないんですけど、思い返した時によりインパクトのある作品だとずっと人の心にも残っている。
She's saying, she's like, of course you don't want to just make something about sex, but it does reminisce better. Why would you say that? I don't understand what she means by that. I mean, it could be a translation thing, but
キャッチーで分かりやすい作り方、小道具だったり衣装、曲が全てが謝罪
So for her, concept mattered a lot in this.
作られていたことがクリエイトの部分で、
But Miss Rue, you gotta remember, it's not just about concepts.
も素晴らしくて、やっぱり作品の作り方。
Normally I agree with her. I don't know if she's holding it down justification-wise for this match, unfortunately.
私はこのavex Royalbrats.
So she didn't like the concept of Septeni, and her score reflected that. Validates my point. I mean, the thing is that, like, I know it could have been a translation thing. She's like, of course you don't want to make, you know, a routine that's just based around sex, I think is what the translation said. I don't know if that's what she meant, and that's fine, but she was saying, you know, there's other concepts that can resonate better, and that's exactly what avex brought. And so you notice that most of what she said didn't talk much about the skill sets. It only talked about the concepts. And and y'all know how I feel about judging things off of concept. It's not practical for long-term, like, actual proper adjudication, and you're gonna find more holes in someone's justification that way too. It truly is, you know. So, but I mean, and although, am I glad they tied? Yeah. I mean, I think both brought some great stuff, but I can completely agree with those who picked with Septeni. Their biggest thing with avex was their locking was a bit, when it comes to the level of how much they put in their set, it was definitely vibing more intermediate. Some of the syncopation can be a little bit advanced on the musicality side, but for the most part, the actual fundamentals, the alpha kicks, I mean, the syncopation was nice, but that was like one transition step. Like, it was actually more difficult when Royalbrats, their competitor, did it because of how they set it up in the context surrounding the alpha cake variant. So in all, I mean, I'm glad it was a tie, because I feel that it definitely both had strong points and both had areas of, you know, that could have definitely have really helped their routines. You know, I didn't want one component of Royalbrats to be the reason why they lose, but also whenever you have high caliber competition, sometimes one category is really that can separate between the two in terms of who wins and who doesn't, you know what I mean? So it's just so interesting. It's all interesting, but it's all in good fun. It's fun. It's really fun to watch this. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. If you want to see more D.LEAGUE or myself actively reacting to it, I always post it on Patreon first, and then it comes out on a schedule on YouTube. I'm getting really close to actually being caught up with the current rounds of D.LEAGUE, which makes me really happy, because it feels like I'm able to be a part of the action in real time versus just playing catch up on highlights, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, this is going to be really great. Moving forward with the rest of the round, I'm about halfway down with round 5. We're doing pretty good on audience vote and pretty good on judges votes too. So far, I think this was the only one so far in round 5 that I did not actively vote on, but it's because I would have tied it for a certain degree, and I'm glad it was rewarded in such a way. So once again, I'm Jess. Thank you once again for watching, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye!